Welcome to You Don't Know Ball. Today, we're going to be predicting the over and under win totals for all 32 NFL teams. We are doing this based off the DraftKings win total. So we're going to go division by division. As always, we will start in the AFC East. So, as always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let us know in the comments who you think is going to completely shatter their win total this year. Starting off, Dobbs, with the Buffalo Bills. I also have a strength of schedule meter here. You can see the key at the bottom. So the strength of schedule, I should probably explain this, is based off of the wins or the record last year. Right? So that's how this is calculated, based off the teams on their schedule from the last year. As you guys can see on the right of the video, I have the schedule grid, so you'll be able to see the team's schedule and who they're playing every single week. So with that being said, Buffalo Bills over or under 10.5 wins with their strength of schedule being pretty hard. Dobbs, what are you taking?
Dude, this is one of the ones I literally knew we were going to talk about this one right off the bat, and I even had time to think about it before we started recording, and I haven't come to a consensus. Like, Bills fans, let me be clear. If I have to pull the under on this one, just understand, I do believe that they could definitely be a team where, yes, even though I think I'm leaning the under on this one, but not by a lot. It's just that I feel like the Bills, it's tough, though. You know what? I'm changing my viewpoint. Some way, somehow, I actually lean towards Josh Allen still finding a way to get over that 10-win hump. I think that they could, again, it's very 50-50. They could very much be a 10 and under team. They could very much be 11. I'm going to lean the 11 side. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to take the over on that.
So the Bills have not had under 11 wins since 2019. So you said you took the over?
Yeah, I'm rocking over on this one after some dispute.
Yeah, so I guess my thing is, I think they can be a 10-win team. I'm not necessarily confident that with the way they played last year, kind of the retooling of the roster, I guess you want to call it, losing Josh Allen's number one receiver. I don't know if Keon is going to be necessarily an instant impact type of player. I can definitely see them as more of a 10-win team. I think they'll still be a playoff team. I think it's going to be pretty rough in the AFC, honestly. But at the end of the day, I just have a hard time believing that a team that won 11 games last year is somehow going to win 11 this year when they lost their number one receiver. And they did lose kind of a little bit on defense as well. And, you did supplement issues through the draft. But I just think this is going to be one of those off years for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm going to go ahead and go under.
See, that's how I was initially feeling. I don't know, dude. A little birdie just came and told me that. Last second, I don't know, dude. I'm feeling like Josh Allen's going to rock out a crazy season. I'm going to stick with my gut on this one. But I was with you. I'm with you on the initial thoughts. Like, I totally get it.
So looking at the Buffalo Bills, right? Like, they have, and their schedule, they have New England week 16 and 18, so nice to finish the season. But week 17 they play the Jets, week 15 they play the Lions, week 14 they play the Rams, week 13 they play San Francisco, week 11 they play KC. The only wins that are it's any given Sunday that I see are New England, Seattle, Tennessee, Arizona. Like, all those are the only games that I have them down as for sure wins, and that's not how I felt last year. So we'll do a video where we pick all throughout the schedule, but just going strictly off over under numbers, that schedule just kind of scares me, especially with the late season opponents.
Yeah, when you lay it out like that, that is scary. But I'm just gonna, Josh Allen, fantastic year last year. I'm on the side more like, yeah, losing Stephon. You look at it initially, you're like, yeah, it's going to hurt, and it will, but like, there's also that chance, like we've been saying for years, maybe just getting Stephon out of the building, a little bit of a rejuvenation. Everyone is a little bit looser, just maybe that's the way this the cards fall.
Moving into the Miami Dolphins, they have an easier strength of schedule at 4-8-8. They open up the season with Jacksonville, and then they play Buffalo. But then after that, they have Seattle, Tennessee, New England, Indiana, Arizona. So they start off the season pretty light in terms of opponents. And then on the back end, they have Las Vegas, New England, and then it gets a little bit rough. So with that being said, I have been kind of really high on the Dolphins these last couple years. But this year, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Tua, and if they're not able to get the extension done before the year, I mean, Dobbs, do you think they're getting the extension done before the season?
I feel like the way it's trending, like I'm with you. Where it's just like I don't know. I do think that that's probably like what they're aiming towards. But like I told Dolphins fans, it's and I said this before. I'll say it again. It's a weird situation because you get this deal done with Tua, and realistically, a lot of that core that they've come to love over these next few seasons is going to inevitably have to find their way out of the door. Tua is going to demand such a big chunk of that cap, as we know. I don't know though. But I was going to say, to the point, that was why with my reasoning, without, I'll spoil a little. I think I'm leaning towards over knowing that if they don't get that deal done before the season, he's fighting for his contract. But then also, if they don't, just maybe do they? I don't know. It's like that them getting that contract done kind of affects how I view this over under. Because like if you get it done, just maybe a little bit of complacency. We know how guys are. Again, I don't want to put that on Tua, but sometimes after guys get paid, you see the foot off the gas, and it's like I don't know. Could that be Tua? I don't know. I don't work with Tua. I don't see his work habit. I don't know. Again, that's why everyone in the comments always wants to attack you when you say something like this. But that's the point is I'm saying I don't know. What I do know is that getting that contract done could or could not have an effect on the Dolphins season, and it's going to have to come down to that. That's the way I see it.
So you have the over then?
I'm going to lean over just on the assumption that, yes, it's not done yet. And if it does leak into the season and he's fighting for his Dolphins career and all that money, I see no way that they're not going to, I feel like they could push over 10 wins. But if they get it done and, he's a little sore, he's got to sit out, he's got to miss some time. It's also very possible then they also go under. So I think, I'm going to go over right now just on the assumption that they get, that they don't get something done before the season starts and he's playing for the contract, basically.
So I'm going to go under, and this is my reason why. I've gone under on two AFC East teams. The Dolphins, in my opinion, have zero incentive to get the Tua deal done right now, okay? If you get it done right now, you're going to pay him like a top 10 quarterback. We've seen that sometimes he cannot be that, and the Dolphins know that Mike McDaniel is probably the best offensive coordinator in the league for a quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa. They didn't really address, outside of Aaron Brewer, the interior of the offensive line. And my concern is this. You pay it to he underperforms, you're stuck with it in a situation, I don't want to say similar to Daniel Jones, where you just knew you shouldn't have given him the contract, but almost in a situation where it's like, we're kind of shaky. And in my opinion, if you're going to pay a guy like he's top 10, you got to know that he's your quarterback. You shouldn't be questioning if you should pay him or not. So let's say they don't pay Tua, he plays his last year out, and he doesn't perform. What team is going to pay him a ton of money? He could just come back to the Dolphins on a cheaper deal. And I think Tua knows that if he wants to be the best player he can be, he's going to be right here in Miami with the weapons he has, with the coach he has. I think Miami has all the leverage here. I think Tua has to really prove himself this year, but I am just not confident in Tua this year getting it done. So I'm going to go probably similar to the Bills, where they're probably going to win 10 games. Dolphins will probably win 9.
Okay. See, I'm higher on them than that, but I completely understand what you're saying. I completely understand the viewpoint.
Moving over to the New England Patriots, they have an over and under of 4.5 with a strength of schedule of 0.512. Honestly, kind of brutal. They open up with Cincinnati, Seattle, who's a decent team, New York Jets, San Francisco, Miami, Houston, Jacksonville, Jets again. And then they get a little bit easier with Tennessee, but Tennessee's not a pushover at all. Chicago, Rams, Miami, Indianapolis, Arizona, who I think Arizona's better. Buffalo, Chargers, Buffalo. What an intense schedule for a team that we know is very barren of talent and has a whole new coaching staff. With that being said, I don't see how they win 5 games this year, and I'm going to go under, especially because the fact of if they play Drake May, they're definitely not winning 5 games. I love Drake May, but he needs to sit for a year.
I feel like I'm in a situation where I'm looking at this like to all your points. Yeah, you're spot on. And I'll even add this. realistically, and the Patriots know this. Like in the back of their heads, they know this, right? It's like obviously the coaches and the players are not. They're not going for this. But the way that it is right now, look, if you lose as many, not as many as you get what I'm saying though. You lose a lot of games. It's not a bad thing. You have a lot of roster construction to be done. It is far from a tragedy if this roster does not win 5 games. So they're not expected to. They don't have really the talent necessarily with that schedule, in my opinion. And to your point, like you're saying, I don't think they have the talent even to do it right now. For me, this is an easy one where, again, no disrespect, Patriots fans. I just don't really see you guys getting it done. And I think if you guys were to get to 5 wins this year, it would actually be an accomplishment with this roster right now because there is just so much to be done in terms of building. So, yeah, I'm going to go under on this one. Even though it's a disrespectful line, Patriots fans, if you guys go under again and you guys get more high draft capital, it's a good thing all in all. Just remember that.
I promise you, because if you think about it this way, Dobbs, if they sit Drake May until like week 16, right, get him in their last couple games, let's say New England gets the #1 pick, right? We know the draft class next year isn't that highly touted in terms of quarterback, but let's say there's a team that wants to trade up for one. You already got your guy. Trade back, get a ton of assets, get a player. You're able to build around May, and maybe that was their plan all along. They know they're stuck with a tough schedule. They know that the team is not ready to compete now. Get your quarterback because you don't like the ones next year, and then try to get the #1 pick again and trade out and collect assets. I think that would be a good compromise between, Elliott Wolf and Robert Kraft. I think Robert Kraft is definitely wanting to win more now, where Elliott Wolf wants to kind of rest and develop May. I don't know the plans. That would be my guess behind the scenes. So I don't know. I just feel like that would be the best course of action right now for the New England Patriots.
No, and again, I think I'm exactly there with you. Like the reality is, winning this year, there's just nothing to necessarily gain from it. Like it's just losing is the best thing in the long term, and real Patriots fans know that at this point. You got to build it. You got to tear down to build up. So they're just in that situation this year.
Next, we have the New York Jets over under 9.5 wins with the strength of schedule in the middle at a .505. Last year, they went 7-10. And when we're looking at the Jets, they play San Fran week 1, but then they get Tennessee, New England, Denver, Minnesota, depending on how you feel about them and their quarterback situation. Then it gets a little bit tougher. You get Buffalo, Pitt, but then you get New England again, Houston, and then you get Arizona, Indy. So it's right in the middle. And my opinion is if you're winning 7 games with such a putrid offense last year and you upgrade your team this year, you upgrade the offensive line, give me the over on the Jets at 9.5.
Yeah, I was going to say for this one, look, and let me be crystal clear with this because I can already hear the comments on this one. Like, yes, if something happens to Aaron Rodgers or something happens to that O-line in total and a bunch of them, go down. Look, this is one where it could very quickly go super south. But we're under the assumption, obviously, that Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy the whole year, that O-line's going to stay upright. If they can do that, yeah, I think realistically, we're looking at a team that should, at the bare minimum, win 10 games. So I think the Jets actually got a pretty favorable line right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in my opinion, they have the best chance to win the AFC East. And I think the line is actually lower than what the Bills are. One, because Josh Allen's younger, but also the injury history is kind of scary, and maybe Nathaniel Hackett is still employed by the organization.
Yeah, you know what? Is this the Nathaniel Hackett tax that we're witnessing live?
Vegas is accounting for Nathaniel Hackett when they set lines. But with Rodgers playing quarterback, they should be okay.